Word.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, the failure of the Biden administration to control the southern border has resulted in record levels of deadly synthetic drugs like fentanyl to come into our country and to pour directly into American communities. Now, make sure we understand, we're not just talking about border communities. Every country, every town, every county, every city in this country is infested by this. It is seeping into our communities. No, it is not just along the border. It's all throughout our country. Every town is a border town now. So far this fiscal year, over 10,000 pounds of fentanyl has been seized at the southern border.
Hey, you'll have to excuse me. I'm kind of watching.
Who has their... Who? Oh, I think, Mr. Curtis, can you turn off the conversation? All right, Mr. Carter can continue.
Again, Mr. Chairman, so far this fiscal year, over 10,000 pounds.
We're trying to be as efficient with your all's time.
Well, I appreciate that.
Mr. Curtis, we can hear your conversation. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Carter.
Okay. For the third time. So far this year, over 10,000 pounds of fentanyl has been seized at the southern border, with even more slipping through into communities across this country. The surge of drug seizures at our border is closely connected to the surge of drug overdose deaths in the United States. And we call them drug overdose deaths. It's actually, as Representative Crenshaw just referred to it as, it's drug poisoning. It's fentanyl poisoning. That's exactly what it was. I was at a town hall meeting just last week when the mother, God bless her, of a child who had died as a result of taking one tablet. I made the mistake of calling it fentanyl addiction. She said, no, it wasn't addiction, it was poisoning. My child was poisoned. That's what it was. And I thank her for correcting me. I was wrong, she was right. In fact, every 7.5 minutes, someone in the United States dies from fentanyl poisoning. Every 7.5 minutes. How long have we been here today? We started at what, 10:30? And how many people have died as a result of fentanyl poisoning since we've been in session here? Fortunately, we've got an opportunity here for us to work together to help to stem the flow of deadly fentanyl and its analogs into our country. This is an issue that impacts every one of us. It's not just Republicans, it's not just Democrats, it's not independents, it's everyone, all of us. You think that fentanyl gives a dang whether you're a Democrat or Republican? No, it doesn't. I can tell you, I'm a pharmacist, I know this, I've studied it. In my home state of Georgia, fentanyl overdose deaths in teens are up 800%. 800%. Overdoses like this are happening every day all over the country. Even the CDC reports that fentanyl is now the leading cause of death in the U.S. for adults aged 18 through 45. How can anyone seriously argue that a drug 50 times more potent than heroin, and which almost always proves fatal when ingested, should ever be legal? These products are manufactured illegally and are largely brought into the U.S. through the southern border. Just this fiscal year, U.S. border agents have seized enough fentanyl to kill every American, every single one of us, 8 times over. To save lives, we must secure the border and halt fentanyl. I've visited the border several times to see the crisis firsthand, and I have witnessed it. With a record high number of illegal immigrants, smugglers, and cartels are using this as an opportunity to traffic more fentanyl substances. Unfortunately, President Biden and his administration have elected to leave our border wide open, inviting drug traffickers to bring fentanyl substances into the country and distribute it on our streets. This should not be a partisan issue. Again, that fentanyl doesn't care one bit whether you're a Democrat or Republican or independent. It doesn't care about the color of your skin. It doesn't care about your gender. It doesn't care about anything. This is an issue that's not going away. It's only getting worse. If the president and the vice president would visit the border, they would be able to talk to the agents firsthand and see for themselves how serious the issue is. Our communities are at risk. Our youth are at risk. Our children are at risk. People we love, they are at risk. Despite an overdose crisis that is killing more than 100,000 people a year, President Biden and his administration have failed to secure the southern border. Make no mistake about it, this is where it's coming from. It's coming from across the border. President Biden has ignored this public health crisis for too long. We need to secure our border and protect all Americans. Republicans, Democrats, Independent, doesn't matter. All Americans. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Thank you. So we're going to